and the cat's in the cradle and a silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know when, but we'll get together then, yeah. You know we'll have a good time then. Unless you plan an entire day centered around doing things I liked when I was younger, not taking into account the fact that I'm older now despite the fact that I keep dropping hints at you, and of course not even having the courtesy to ask me if there's anything that I want to do instead of just making assumptions. Just saying. I'm Finn the Pony, and it's time for Finn Bits. So, Forever Philly, an episode where Rarity spends some much overdue personal time with her little sis, not realizing that Sweetie Belle is no longer the little Philly she remembers anymore. Will this be an episode that I'll remember forever? Let's find out. As the years go by, we all must accept what the winds of change will bring. Friends and siblings will get older, interests will change, and entire lives will become different as a result. It happens to all of us, and learning to adapt to such change is important for everyone to learn. So when MOP decides to give us an episode with that type of moral intact, how does it go over? Pretty awesome. For the most part. Let's start with the best part by far, Sweetie Belle. All things considered, I'd probably say Sweetie is my favorite member of the CMC. She's top of her class when it comes to being funny, adorable, heartwarming, and just downright interesting. And when she's put in the spotlight, it leads to some of the best episodes in the series. Heck, her last outing with Rarity is considered a Season 2 classic, and for good reason. And in this episode, she's at her best once again. It was great to see her taking charge, not only by single-handedly solving the Zipper puppy predicament, but also by telling Rarity off in the end, which led to the awesome moral. I don't think I would consider Sweetie the leader of the CMC, but it's great to see her getting really proactive in her job. Really shows just how mature she's become. And of course, if not for Sweetie, we wouldn't have gotten this gem of a moment.
Pose! And pose! Love the camera! Hate the camera! Love it again!
Tell me that's not one of the funniest moments we've gotten all season. But hey, I can't sell the rest of the CMC short, as they were just as entertaining and this as Sweetie was. We're shown the leaps and bounds in progress they've made as a group by showing them with even more satisfied clients. Heck, they're so good at Cutie Mark helping at this point that they even filled up a wall with their greatest achievements. As someone who actually has one of these in real life, I can say that this is an awesome idea on many levels. It allows the CMC to look back on past victories with fondness, and even give them motivation when certain outings don't go so well. It honestly helps a lot more than you think.
Staring. Motivating?
Not to mention that while Sweetie's out on her day of fun, Applewoman and Scooter will do their best to try and handle the situation with Zipperwool and her puppy. Sure, Sweetie's the one who eventually comes up with the right answer, but you gotta give them credit for never giving up and sticking with it. While this episode wasn't centered entirely around the CMC, it still gave them an awesome first impression for Season 7. In addition, I really enjoyed the little side plot that Zipperwool presented us with in this episode. For those who don't know, Zipper made her first appearance in Philly Vanilli, which is also when she first got her little puppy. But now in this episode, the once spry little puppy has become a fully grown adult dog, and no longer cares for the toys he once played with when he was younger. Aside from the novelty of having a character return from so many seasons ago, this whole dog plot provides us with an interesting parallel to the situation with Rarity and Sweetie. That being that when someone gets older, not all their interests are likely to stay the same. Plus, it allows Sweetie to present Rarity and Zipper with the big lesson of the day. As time goes by, time brings changes. Appearances change, interests change, schedules and commitments change, and while it may be hard to accept or understand at first, learning to adapt to these differences in others is a crucial part of life, and one that all people must deal with, whether it be with pets, friends, or family members. So yeah, a great moral, an awesome performance by the CMC, and a great side plot with a returning one-shot character. What could possibly go wrong? Ooh, right. I'm not going to call the main plot straight up terrible, as there were moments I enjoyed, like the aforementioned photo shoot scene and the 2 moments in the beginning where we see just how busy both sisters' lives have gotten, which makes for a good setup. But the entire main story as a whole just has a very generic and repetitive feel to it. It's obvious right from the get-go that Sweetie isn't going to enjoy any of the things she did when she was younger, which makes a lot of sense. But the same formula is repeated for every single scene. Rarity takes Sweetie to something she enjoyed when she was a filly, Sweetie goes along with it just to make Rarity happy, Sweetie looks bored, she drops a hint that she doesn't enjoy it, Rarity doesn't catch on, rinse and repeat. As I said before, the moral at the end is nice, but the journey to get there for the most part is really boring. I didn't even get to the worst part, which is Rarity's behavior throughout all this. I can understand that Rarity likely has a deep longing for the fun that she and Sweetie had when she was younger, and in a way, maybe blinded by nostalgia, but just how far they take her obliviousness goes way past what I would consider normal. I mean, not only does Sweetie look visibly bored during every activity, but she even drops very obvious hints at Rarity that she's too old for this kind of stuff.
I guess I just prefer black box experimental feeder. I was thinking something more like a salad. A salad?
Not to mention that in the end, after Sweetie tells Rarity off, there's a brief period where she actually blames Sweetie for what happened, even though Sweetie's basically been trying to tell her the truth all day, but she just didn't catch on. If we compare the main plot to Zipper's side plot with her dog, there are two reasons why the side plot works a lot better. Number one, Zipper is a kid, and it makes a lot more sense that she might have some trouble understanding the concept of change in others. Meanwhile, Rarity is a fully grown mare, and should be able to understand and pick up on the fact that Sweetie is now older and wouldn't enjoy things like children's puppet shows and ice cream sundaes the size of a thimble. What is this? An ice cream for ants? And two, the dog can't talk, so he can't tell Zipper that he doesn't enjoy puppy playthings anymore. All she has to go by is his behavior, which can be a bit of a challenge. Meanwhile, Sweetie is able to communicate to Rarity that she's not having fun, and even does so a few times, and yet Rarity still doesn't take a hint. I wouldn't say her behavior is frustratingly bad, but it was definitely more spice up your life-esque than it needed to be. All things considered though, Forever Philly was a fairly enjoyable little episode. The CMC shined for their first time this season, Zipper's subplot was enjoyable, and the moral is fantastic as always. The main plot could have used some polish, and Rarity's performance was a bit on the stupider side of things, but it's certainly not enough to wreck the fantastic positives that were given here. Sadly, the Rarity and Sweetie episodes did not get better with age, but at the very least, there is some life left in them, and I have faith that their next outing will be forever fantastic. Well, I hope you all enjoyed my quick little playthrough of this episode, and feel free to tell me what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Did this episode make you feel as jubilant as Rarity or as bored as Sweetie Belle? What's one of your most nostalgic childhood memories? Feel free to leave your answer in the comments below. Thanks for playing along with me. I'm Finn the Pony, and I hope to see you all next time on Finbits.
One pipsqueak patty, and your bib and high chair.